The Patriots left today, 5 days early for Miami. They left New England. They went down to Miami. And right off the bat, Puma, before we get to the analysis, have you ever seen anything like this? I've never seen anything like this where, besides the Super Bowl or like West Coast trips where you want to stay out there, I've never seen a 2-hour flight demand 5 days on the ground. This screams desperation to me like no other. What was your thoughts when you saw that? 5 whole days? What is that?
I thought the same thing because, like you said, I've seen this with Super Bowl stuff. I've seen this with, like a good example is, the 49ers. When they come to the East Coast, they'll hang out in Greenbrier, West Virginia. Like, okay, that makes sense
But this
because
is
you're on the East
flight.
Coast swing.
Like what next?
This is a 2-hour
What
flight.
do you need next? You need 5 days to go down to go down and play the Jets. Like they're 2 hours. They're like an hour and a half away via flight. Like what are we doing here?
Yep. So, I mean, yeah, it's all under the guys. All right, we got to get acclimated for the weather. It's hot down in Florida. Well, it probably also doesn't help you're like 9-19 or 9 or whatever against the Dolphins when you open up the season against them. But no, I mean, the whole offseason, though, Jay, I mean, it's been bizarre world, and that's just putting it charitably. So, like, this isn't really beyond, like, the pale of what we've seen all offseason with the New England Patriots. I think it's probably like the more tamer of things of, oh, okay, they're really going down 5 days for a 2-hour flight down to South Beach. All right. On the bingo card, that's probably something I didn't have, but it makes the most sense out of all the nonsense that's gone on in Foxborough.
Well, I've already heard the chess, not checkers. He's getting a leg up. Oh my god, I want to shoot myself. But it's just there's a lot has happened this offseason, like you said, Puma, with Matt Patricia and Joe Judge coming back to be on the offensive side. You've obviously got, the whole Mac Jones thing. There might be some buy-in questions in the locker room. There's a whole other firestorm with Trent Brown and Isaiah Wynn that people don't even know about yet. That seems to be percolating. There's a lot happening with this New England team. And if we put all that BS aside for a second and just focus on the game, I do have key questions about which offense is going to come out against the Dolphins, right? Because the offense they try to implement in the preseason so far, the new stretch run zone offense, has been a train wreck. I mean, every single person that's covering the team has said that whole like endeavor to install that offense is basically some of the most worst football they've seen. Greg Bernard, who's like the biggest Belichick, bobo there is out there, even he's like, this might be the worst practice I've seen an NFL team have. And then 3 weeks later, no, I take that back. This is the worst offense I've seen in a practice in my NFL history covering. So there's a lot of questions, and as much of a problem I have with Bill Belichick, I don't think he's a complete like nincompoop. I do not have respect for him like most people do. So it doesn't make sense that he's gonna take 3 weeks worth of preseason tape and be like, "Yep, all that's working. Let's roll with that week one." It doesn't make sense, right, Puma? Like I'm just trying to think logically here, where they're gonna probably revert back to that offense they had last year. I mean, that offense last year, yes, it wasn't the greatest, but it definitely was serviceable enough to get you to 10 wins and make yourself look useful in the NFL, right? So my whole thing is, and this is why I'm leaning towards the Patriots winning this game, is if you do come out with that old school offense from last year, if we do consensusly believe that Bill Belichick is better than Mike McDaniels in his first game coaching, and for the most part, the general consensus is that Mac Jones is better than Tua Tagovailoa, and I don't believe that, but a lot of people do. You have a lot going for you, so with all that being said, like I should expect the Patriots to win this game, right? Like I would feel confident if this was any other year the Patriots go down and winning against the Dolphins, but at the moment, I'm barely leaning there just because I hope Belichick is smart enough to go through the old offense when he comes back out.
Look at Jay talking himself into
But it's
Pats
logic, though, right? I mean, there's no way Puma he's dumb enough to come out and run that offense, right?
But Jay, has anything this offseason been done under the flag of logical thought? Like Joe Judge and Matt Patricia, who have never called plays in their entire life, are calling offensive plays. And just to go back to Greg Bedard, for people that don't know, like Greg Bedard also covered like the Green Bay Packers and the Miami Dolphins. And he was down in South Beach during like the Cam Cameron year when he took over for the Miami Dolphins as a head coach. And to say like the football up here is worse than the Cam Cameron season,
that's pretty bad.
That is saying something. And it's like, full disclosure, guys, like I haven't seen a whole lot of Pats pregame because of where I live in Connecticut. It's not in like the region of games that they're going to cover. So like Jay, like I know it's been like a train wreck at practice. Like, have they even really tried to implement this, or like every time come like preseason game, they're just going with the old offense and they're just trying to implement the new offense in training camp? Because if that's the case, I find it really hard to believe that they're going to roll out this new offense unless like God forbid, like they're up 30-10 against the Dolphins in the fourth quarter, and now they want to all of a sudden try the zone running attack or the zone running offense. Like I just don't like. Talk to me. Has this happened in preseason games?
Well, week 1 and week 2 of preseason, they played the Giants and the Panthers, and they ran the old offense, and they would sprinkle in plays, 1 or 2 plays per series here with the new offense, right? The new run zone offense, and it would be a train wreck, so they'd go away from it. But week 3, when they played the Raiders, they went full on like the new offense, and it was just a train wreck. It was so bad that the game plan going in was Mac Jones and the offense were going to play 1 series, get some good feels, and get off the field. They were in there until the middle of the second quarter because eventually, after 4 series of trash, they went back to some of the old stuff to try to get them feeling good and then pull them off the field. Like it was an absolute train wreck, and the worst part about it is the defense they were playing against was the second teamers of the Raiders. That was the worst part. The part that hurts the most is the fact that they're going up against backups and they still couldn't move the freaking ball, bro.
Yeah, this is fine. This is fine.
So,
again, unless New England is up like 30-10 in the fourth quarter with like 5 minutes to go, like I think they're going to Jay. I think they're going to have to do the old offense, which then gets to the point of to the coaching staff. Then what the hell were you doing in training camp, wasting everybody's time?
How far behind are you, right?
Yeah, this was an issue that didn't have to be an issue. And with all that being said, and I know like New England and everybody's like, oh, the Bill, just do your job and stuff, tune out the outside noise. I just don't see how the lights are going to come on week 1 and all of a sudden Trent Brown, Isaiah Wynn are going to be happy campers and Mac Jones is not going to be passive aggressive in press conferences and it's not having a meltdown on the sideline. I don't see how this is going to work. I think they're just going to lean on the run game a lot. Nobody pass catcher wise really doesn't, as a Dolphins fan, doesn't really scare me a whole lot. Like we didn't see anything out of Jonnu Smith last year. Hunter Henry was like the one bright spot in the free agency acquisitions. Like maybe he'll pick up where he left off, but nothing in this offense inspires confidence. And then on the defensive side of the football for the Pats, I know Jalen Mills, it sounds like, has taken a step forward in training camp, but do you really want him on Tyreek Hill?
He took a step forward because he was playing the Giants and the Panthers wide receivers. He got ragdolled by Devontae Adams. For 3 straight days, from what I understand.
So do you want that guy on, Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle? And I mean, Jay, you tell me, who out of that secondary, who do you think is going to take on Tyreek Hill, and who's going to take on Jalen Waddle? Or are they just going to try their best to take Tyreek Hill out of the game and make Tua beat them with Gesicki and Waddle and Cedric Wilson?
Spot on. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to look back at what Bill Belichick has done against Tyreek against the Chiefs, and it was always, all right, well, we've got to do whatever we can to go ahead and take away Tyreek. Even when he had Stephon Gilmore, it still wasn't, you couldn't match him up one-on-one. So you had to always bracket him or roll the coverage or whatever you got to do to somehow double team him and take him away is probably what they're going to do. And they're going to roll with the punches. They're going to be like, all right, beat us with Gesicki, your running backs, and Jalen Waddle. So if you're a fantasy player and you got Jalen Waddle, I would definitely look to start him this week because Tyreek's probably going to be get taken out of the game by Belichick, and then it's going to be a whole Jalen Waddle affair. But I want to get one quick point. I want to move on to the Dolphins side of this thing, and I want to get your input on the Dolphins. But the thing I want to talk about, Puma, that like really frustrates me is I don't recognize this team. The Patriots that we knew for 20 years were they very like stout, do your job, like get wins no matter what. At the end of the day, your personal feelings don't matter. It's a team and winning. Now you've got stuff coming out of New England about how there's no buy-in with a team, how Trent Brown is unhappy because at signing day they told him he's going to play right tackle, but he's playing left tackle now, so he wants more money. Isaiah Wonders is going to get traded. Mac Jones doesn't have some sort of buy-in. He had to be talked to. Kendrick Bourne is in the doghouse because he might be a negative effect on Mac Jones. On top of all that, Greg Bernard, he said on the radio, there were plays where it looked like Trent Brown and Isaiah, one of the offensive line, let players through just because they didn't want to block, just because they felt like they were sticking it to the coaching staff. Like, what the hell is that? Like, all this stuff from the Patriot allure that we know for 20 years has been thrown out the window, and now we're doing like cliche things to try to win a game by going down to Miami 5 days early. It's something that I don't understand how we got here. I still cannot fathom that one person leaving in Brady has led to such a big alteration of philosophy in the Patriot organization. But it seems right now that Belichick's got a long way to climb this year, man.
Oh, you can't say that, Jake, because then you're spoiled. But yeah, no, you gotta all faith in Bill. I don't know, Jay. I mean, this is going to be like a discussion for like another podcast episode. But like, if they fall flat on their face, not just on Sunday, but like, let's say like week 2, week 3, we're week 6, and they're barely treading water at 500. Then it's going to be interesting to see what the reports are coming out of Foxborough, because now it's always like Tom galvanizing the team and being like, oh well, look what this press person is saying about us. We're going to go on a FU revenge tour type of deal. I don't see that happening in the locker room.